Today I'm going to share with you the top 3 energy drains that no one else is talking about and how to stop the drain. Now, why is this important? Because for you as an empath or HSP, the person with the strongest energy wins. I said that in episode 1 of this series of empaths and HSPs, your most valuable asset. I want to say it again. The person with the strongest energy wins. Now, you might be thinking, what do you mean win? I don't want to win with somebody. I don't want to fight with them. No, you're not fighting. But as an empath or HSP, if your energy is weak, if you don't have strong energy, or your energy account is depleted, you're going to see yourself like going over to another person's energy, even if you don't want to. You're going to find yourself just, if you might wake up and feel in a good mood, and all of a sudden you get around someone who's frustrated and angry, and all of a sudden you see yourself feeling frustrated and angry. And so you having a full energy account of strong energy is your most valuable asset. And today we're going to talk about the top 3 energy drains for you as an empath, because you got to stop the drain so that energy account stays full. All right? So if you haven't watched the previous episodes, please, I'm going to put links for empaths and HSPs, your most valuable asset, and what drains your energy, because in those first 2 episodes, the what drains your energy, I'm share with you the outer environment things that drain your energy. Today, we're going to talk about what's the most important thing for you as empaths and HSPs, which is your inner environment. And you might be going, inner environment? How's that going to drain my energy? Well, it does, and that's what we're going to show you here today, okay? So your inner environment is really important as an empath and HSP. It's actually important for everybody, but if your inner environment for an empath or HSP is weak or it's being drained, your own inner environment is draining your energy account, then you're going to find yourself more susceptible to other people's emotions and negative energies, okay? So just so you know, if you haven't tuned in before and you'd like to get notified for the future episodes that will be happening, because there's going to be more episodes of this series, please subscribe and turn on your notifications. And if you'd like to be a blessing, please share this with somebody that's an empath or HSP. I know for me, being a blessing is important, so you can be a blessing. And if you like it, please give me a thumbs up, all right? It all helps me, help support the channel. I'm Deepa Lou, just so you know. I'm the creative mystic, and I'm an empath. So everything I'm going to share with you today is something I've learned from my own personal experience or from working with my coaching clients who are empaths and HSPs. Now, your biggest energy drain as an empath or HSP is your own inner environment. And what makes up your inner environment? Your subconscious, conscious, and superconscious mind. You have 3 minds, again, subconscious, conscious, and superconscious mind. And within those 3 minds resides your programming, your self-talk, and your emotions. In fact, those 3 all reside in your subconscious mind. But I want to explain the 3 minds for you so you can understand why these are your biggest energy drains as an empath and HSP, and what you can start to do to stop the drain, okay? Because in the future episodes, we're going to really start to talk about what you can do to put in strong energy into your account and your most important deposits. But those will be in the future episodes, okay? So in your subconscious mind, that's where all your beliefs are. That's your programming, okay? Your subconscious mind is where your ego is stored, your memories are stored, your emotional wounds are stored there. All your habits and beliefs are stored in that area. And that program, that subconscious mind, wants to keep you safe, secure, and keep everything the same. Okay? So whenever you see yourself wanting to have safety, security, and keep everything the same, you're in your subconscious mind. Now then you have a conscious mind. Now your conscious mind is where you analyze things that you notice, oh, there's a blue light, or you know, oh, that plant, oh, that flower is so beautiful, you know, where you're consciously being aware of this thing. That's your conscious mind. Now, most people think they make their choices from their conscious mind, but most of you don't. What I find is most people make choices from their subconscious fears, their subconscious programming, and they justify it in their conscious mind of this is why you're not moving forward on something that's important to you, or that you're you're using logic of why you're making a choice from fear rather than what's true in your heart. So let me give you an example. I met a gentleman once who did a connection call with me, and he really wanted to find a coach, he thought, but he kept using money like, I can't afford it. Or he would say, like, well, I got to stay in this job. He had this job where he was a fireman and he got a really good health insurance. And he was like, well, I have to stay in this job. And I said, well, you don't have to stay in this job. You have a choice. Oh, no, I have to stay in this job because I need to have good health insurance. And so in his mind, he was making a choice from fear. He was afraid that if he hurt himself and he didn't have good health insurance, and he did have like some knee issues or something that were going on, that if he didn't have good insurance and something went wrong with his knee in the future, that, so he made his whole choice from that fear of something was wrong with his knee, and I'm going to stay at this job that I don't like because he didn't want to do it anymore. He didn't like it because of the health insurance. But he's justifying it in his conscious mind, but he's actually making the choice from fear by his knees because his fear. Now, I'm not judging the person, but I'm going to make you aware that that's what you're doing, and it's fine to do it, but be aware that you're doing it. So, so that's your conscious mind is where we look at facts and figures and see, what we're observing at the moment. Okay. Now there's the superconscious mind. Now your superconscious mind is the part of your mind that's connected to your higher power, your higher self. That part of you is always going to be nudging you and reminding you on the inside that you're here for a reason. You're on the planet for a reason. You have a purpose. And I like to say you have purposes, because as you grow and evolve on the planet, you're going to have a different purpose, or maybe a more expanded purpose. You're going to want to take it to the next level. You have like what I call a holy calling, and your superconscious mind is never going to let you forget this. Okay? So those three minds are always operating in you. Now your default mechanism is your subconscious mind. Anytime you feel tired, stressed, frustrated, worried, you're going to hungry, okay, you're going to default to your subconscious mind unless you're highly aware to make a choice from your superconscious mind. Now, you really want to be making them from your superconscious mind, because that's the truth of who you really are. You're this spiritual being meant to do amazing things, miraculous things on the planet. Now, I don't know what your definition is of amazing and miraculous, but you are here for a reason. Okay? I want you to get that. If you're listening to this and watching this video or listening to the podcast, you're here for a reason. Okay? And you are on this planet for a reason. Now, so those three minds, subconscious, conscious, and superconscious mind, are always operating. Now, the subconscious is your default mechanism, but if your subconscious mind, which is where all your programming is stored as far as your belief systems, your habits, your emotional wounds are stored there, okay, and it doesn't match your superconscious aspirations and dreams and desires, you're going to feel like on the inside you're duking it out. I used to say, before I healed some of my own emotional wounds, I used to say, I feel like my subconscious mind and superconscious mind are duking it out, fighting for who wins on what day. One day my superconscious aspirations would win, and one day my subconscious fears would win. And so they just boom, 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 and just think about it. If you're fighting, how draining that would be. So you're actually on the inside almost fighting with yourself. You're having these emotional conflicts. You're feeling conflicted. You ever feel conflicted on the inside? I know you probably have, okay? Do you ever feel resistance to like something and you don't want to do it? That's your subconscious and your superconscious mind duking it out, okay? Now, without knowing the situation, I don't know if it was the superconscious mind you want to follow, or whether that was the thing you were supposed to do or not do, because your superconscious mind can be guiding you to do something or to not do something, okay? And that's where you have to learn more about your own inner operating system so that you can start to no, isn't my subconscious or superconscious mind. Now, one of the ways you know it's your subconscious mind, remember I said your subconscious mind wants you to keep you safe, secure, and keep everything the same. So if you're doing anything where you want to stay safe, secure, or doing the same thing, you're coming from your subconscious mind. If you're worried, doubtful, stressed, coming from your superconscious mind. Okay, so that doesn't mean you're a bad person. We need our subconscious mind, okay? It's what helps us go to the store and tie our shoes, the things we do all the time. It's our memories, but you want to understand that. Okay, so that's one way it's a big energy drain, is that inner conflict that's going on inside of you, okay? Another way that it's draining your energy inwardly is, remember I talked about your superconscious mind. You always have these higher aspirations, a purpose you want to do, and you get these little inklings of desires. Like maybe you want to start painting art. You know, like I'm a sacred artist too, and I create these spirit guide portals. So I'm going to share a little bit about my story, about how I got an inkling and was scared to do it at first, okay, because I kept it a secret. And so I started taking some art classes due to my wife encouraging me, and I started doing oil painting, and I loved it. And I all of a sudden was like, ooh, I want to paint Yogananda. I was getting to where I was going to paint a person. And so I go, I want to paint Yogananda. That's him up there, painted Yogananda. And it was my first person I was going to ever paint. And I was like, oh, I want to paint him. But on the inside, I'm like, ooh, I want to paint him so that people feel blessed by him. People feel his energy and his blessings and his power. And I wanted, to do this, but I kept it to myself. I didn't tell a soul, just kept it to myself. Started doing these things. I started oming the canvas, started listening to Yogananda's voice when I was painting him, started listening to chants that would keep me in a good vibration of power, started praying over it that it be infused with his blessings and his energy and power. Okay, and I got done with painting him and put him up to dry, and a week later someone came up to me when I was looking at him, checking him out, and said, are you the person who painted Yogananda? And on the outside I said, oh yes I am. And she said, oh, well, I just have to tell you, when I look at this painting of him, I just feel like I'm being blessed by him. I feel his power and his energy, and I know his energy because I'm a disciple of Yogananda. And on the outside I'm like, oh, thank you. And on the inside, I'm like, oh my goodness, it worked. Okay, so, but I followed it, okay? I didn't but I did it in secret. So that's one example about you get a little inkling of what you want. And what usually happens if your subconscious mind takes over is you squish it by going, oh, that's a dumb idea. Oh, who do you think you are to think you can create a painting that has the blessings of Yogananda in? Because I'm going to tell you, that stuff came up for me, but I didn't listen to it, okay? But that's your subconscious mind trying to keep you stuck. And so if you don't follow that superconscious guidance or inkling that you get, you're going to feel like you're fighting within the inside, energy's being drained. Also, let's just say you had a bigger aspiration. Let's say you want to grow, like you have your own business, and you want to take it to the next level. Because this is something that I have to work with my clients all the time. They have their business, and they want to take it to another level, and they have these aspirations, and they tell me what their aspirations are. And what happens is then they get scared and they go, I'm confused. Maybe I don't want that anymore. Maybe I don't want that anymore. Oh, no, I think I want this instead. Instead of me having, passive income coming in, I want to start teaching classes where I have 1,000 people on the call or something like that. And so then you go, okay, well, is that true? If that's true, then they put their energy there, okay? And then next month or two goes by, and pretty soon they're like, well, they get foggy again. In fact, they actually, when I explain to them about the fog, they'll realize that is happening. When you go for that truth, that aspiration, and the subconscious mind rears its head, pretty soon you go, I'm unclear. I'm foggy. I don't know what to do. That's your subconscious mind. And then what that happens is you go round and around and around. You say, oh, I want this. Oh, no, I want this. Oh, I want this. Oh, I want this. And you start going after all the shiny objects because of the fact that you're not clear on the inside of what your true heart's desire is, and your subconscious programming of your fears, and that mind is trying to keep you safe, secure, and everything the same, because the subconscious mind doesn't like new things. But yet you're wired from your superconscious mind to be doing new things, to be continually learning and growing. It's the way you're hardwired. Because when you actually stay in your subconscious mind, and let's just say you went to your subconscious mind and you didn't do anything but what your subconscious mind wants, you know what you would feel next? If you said bored, bingo, that's it. You'd feel bored. You'd feel bored. So if you're feeling bored, you're probably coming from your subconscious mind too much. Okay, we have to use it, we have to utilize it, but if you're feeling bored, it means you're trying to keep everything the same. Now, when I say bored, I don't mean like you have an addiction to excitement, because some people do. They constantly need things to go on, you know. But if you're feeling like something's missing in life, like, oh, there's something else, but you just don't know what, your subconscious mind is preventing you from seeing the opportunities and really connecting with it and owning it and holding it. Because when you get that next level of growth that you want to have as an empath or HSP, you got to get it in your bones. You got to hang on to it, because if you don't, someone else's desire is going to come in and you're going to go, Phoo, and you're going to swerve over to their desire. And so you've got to like hang on to it full force of this is my truth. Now, we're going to talk more about that in a future episode about your strong energy, okay, and how to make energy deposits and your most important energy deposits you need to make. Those are the next couple of episodes that are going to be coming, okay? But you got to understand that that's what's going on with your superconscious and your subconscious. So if you have an aspiration or goal or dream and you find yourself struggling to forward on it, and you see yourself getting foggy or confused or circling around, that you think you want one thing and then it's another thing and another thing, and then you see yourself coming back to that, you know. So when I've seen other people do it, they might say something like, oh, I want to create, like, I want a TV show, and then, oh, no, I want to have a coaching academy, and oh, no, I want to have a, and they keep bouncing around, they come back, circle back around, they come, or just keep going to different things over and over and over. That's your subconscious mind, and that is draining to your energy account, because rather than taking all that energy and focusing on what you desire, it's keeping you circling around, and it's draining your energy account. All right? So that's another way your energy account is drained. Now, I talked about your emotions. Any emotional wounds you have. Now, I'm not talking about all emotions. If you're happy, yay, you know. If you're content, yay. Those are all good. But anytime you have emotions where you feel you get triggered, those are, I should say, probably call it your triggers rather than your emotions. It makes it sound like your emotions are bad, but your triggers. Anytime your buttons get pushed, your triggers where you get reactive, your reactions drain your energy. And what happens is you have an emotional wound that's under there, and that gets pressed upon, and pretty soon you're reacting. You get upset at somebody for something, or you like react and you run away, or, you know, people respond to fear and buttons being pushed in different ways. They can either fight, they make a fight with somebody, or do something, you know, they freeze and do nothing, or they avoid. Okay, so if some of that's going on, then that uses up a lot of energy to run away, to avoid, or get in denial. It takes energy to be in denial. You got to keep using up a lot of energy to justify why you're not doing something, instead of using all that energy towards what you really want to create in your life, okay? And then your self-talk. Your self-talk comes from your programming. You got to get your programming. It came from, for the age of 7, right? Everything you heard, overheard, what was said to you, and your experiences. Now, it happens even after the age of 7, but before the age of 7, that is when you have no ability to say, cancel, not true, because you're like a sponge when you're before the age of 7. Everything that's happening around you, it's just like, you're soaking it up. So, if you grew up in a family where there was arguing all the time, you're soaking that up, especially as an empath or HSP. If you experienced some trauma, again, you got to go deal with that in therapy and deal with that trauma, okay? I tell people my coaching has a healing component to it, but if you have major trauma, you have to go to therapy and deal with that, because it's not therapy. But one of the things is that if you have these wounds where it's yanking you back to the past of what happened, where you're having a reaction as if the thing in the past was happening. Now, you may not be conscious of it. You just may see a reaction. Anytime you have a reaction, there's some kind of emotional wound. It might be a little one or it might be a big one. All depends on the level of reaction and your ability to, whether if that reaction controls your behavior or whether you see the reaction and you can actually stop it. You're like, I'm reacting on the inside, but I'm not going to actually do that. I can just feel something's being pushed. And so as you heal, you get to that place. So that can be a big energy drain when you have those reactive triggers. And those reactive triggers keep you stuck from moving forward on your aspirations and goals and dreams. It takes a lot of energy to stop your natural way of being wired. You are naturally wired for wanting to grow and learn and expand, and you want to go for your purpose and your holy call, what I call your holy calling. So if you're stopping yourself constantly because of your either your emotional wounds or your fears, that's going to drain your energy. It's big energy drain, okay? And then there's your self-talk. Okay, how do you talk to yourself? Do you have loving words or berating words? Now, what I find for most people I meet, especially empaths and HSPs, they berate themselves. Why? Because you've been programmed to believe that something is wrong with you because you're sensitive. And they might not have said there's something wrong with you. But they went, oh, you're so sensitive. Stop being so sensitive. Stop crying. I'm going to give you something to cry about. Oh, you got to toughen up. See, all those statements are saying something's wrong with you. We got to help you change that programming. Because that programming of thinking something's wrong with you beats you up, berates you, keeps you stuck where you are, keeps you from actually moving forward on why you're here on the planet. And that takes a lot of energy to keep yourself from growing. Think about a baby, right? You can't stop the baby from growing, right? They just keep growing. They start off this little bitty baby, and pretty soon they're a toddler, and then they're a teenager, and then they're an adult. And even though you're not growing in size as an adult, you're still growing in consciousness. See, if you're a spiritual soul, you know this, that you want to be growing in consciousness. If you're not, as an empath or HSP, start to embrace that because you're going against your natural wiring. Your empathic sensitivities, your highly sensitive sensitivities are all there as your superpowers. And you have to start to believe that so that you can utilize them in the way that they were meant to be used. And if you think there's something wrong with you, you are not using them in the way they were meant to be used. So let's recap real quick, just so you're clear. How do you stop the drain happening from your energy account? Well, one, you got to heal those emotional wounds. What you do depends on where you are. If you have deep trauma, you need to find a therapist because you got to work out that deep trauma with a trained professional. But if you've done that work, or you don't have any deep trauma in your life, but you have little buttons, okay? That can be done with a coach. Now, I have a unique way of the coaching. I'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute because I have a gift for you that I want to give to you. So hang out so I can give you that gift, okay? But you got to heal those emotional wounds. You got to change the self-talk because that self-talk is draining to you when you berate yourself and belittle yourself or tell yourself something's not possible. So you've got to change the self-talk. Now, I will tell you, changing self-talk without doing, this is the big one that really has to happen, is you've got to change your programming. We talked about the programming that got into you, that everything you heard, overheard, experienced in your life is what created your belief system and your programming that keeps you going around and around and around and not being able to see the opportunities that are there for you. You have to change that programming. And that programming is changed through repetition and experience. But the thing is that you have to know what programming to change, right? What's not working for you and what it will work for you. And that's where, I would love to step in and help you. I'm a spiritual success coach. I am always teaching my coaching clients and my students in classes what the spiritual laws are that are operating in your life 24/7. And when you start to understand those and then be able to apply them, we change the programming so that it's based on spiritual truth, not the fears and false beliefs that you got as a child or through teenagehood that are stopping you, or that you continue to believe because you think you see things in life that are substantiating that. But when you start to understand those spiritual truths and you go, oh, and you start to learn how to, apply them in your life and use them from the powerful being that you are, that's where transformation happens. So I want to give you a gift of a next step connection call. If you're ready to make this change, to start getting the support you need so you can be the powerful empath and highly sensitive person that you are, I would love to meet you and connect with you and see, are we a fit? If I'm not a fit for you, please find someone else. But here's the important thing you've got to do if you find someone else, which I am, is you need to have somebody, some kind of support system who understands what empaths and highly sensitive people need. Because if you go to a coach or therapist who does not understand that, they're going to be telling you things that don't support you and what you need to be successful. See, I, as an empath, understand what you need because I had to figure that out for me. And by working with my coaching clients who are empaths and HSPs, I saw their struggles and what they needed to become successful. And so you really need to make sure you pick somebody that knows how to work with an empath or highly sensitive person. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up for the like, because all that helps support the channel. Turn on your notifications. All those things help the channel. And if you want to be a blessing in the world, just like I want to be a blessing, please share this video with an empath or a highly sensitive person that would benefit from it. All right? Remember, greatness is within you. It's time to shine your light. Have a miraculous day, and I'll see you in the next episode. Blessings.